Once upon a time, there lived a young woman called Ibukun. Ibukun is gifted with an extraordinary craft of cake making. Her cakes are always light and fluffy, sweet and full of mouth-watering flavors. People far and near will travel down to Ibukun's shop just to have a taste of a delicious cake. Every day, the children in the village will line up eagerly outside a shop, their eyes wide with anticipation as they waited for their share of Ibukun's famous cakes. What makes Ibukun's cakes even more remarkable is that they are completely free. She never asked for a single coin in exchange, only a simple request. No one must eat more than a slice of cake. Just a slice of cake seems not to be enough. The villagers always wanted more of a cake, the sweet and rich savory taste lingering in their mouths. But somehow they all comply with Ibukun's request. Just a slice, they will say to themselves. My wedding is tomorrow. Temidire rushed into Ibukun's shop, and I want a very elaborate wedding cake. Ibukun smiled and nodded. Your wedding cake will be delivered first thing tomorrow morning at a zero cost. But a kindly reminder, just a slice of cake for all the wedding guests. No more, no less. Temidire looked at Ibukun. What of the bride and groom? Just a slice. Ibukun warned. Won't that be such a waste? Replied Temidire. What will happen to the leftover cake? Remembered I said I want an elaborate and tall cake. Ibukun smiled. Just keep the rest of the cake outside at night. The spirits of the night will take care of the rest. But Ibukun has a secret no one knew about. Ibukun has a son who is very sick. Ifedayo could neither walk nor talk. He is a calm and gentle boy, and Ibukun usually locked him up in the daytime. At night, when the spirits of the night bring the leftover cake, Ifedayo will smile broadly, happy as a feast on the cake. Only him is allowed to eat more than a slice. The next morning, as promised, Temidire's wedding cake stood tall and elaborate, covered in rich, intricate designs of red and white icing. It is the most beautiful cake Ibukun has ever made. As the wedding guests marveled at its beauty and took their single slice, Temidire and her groom to exchange their slice of cake. It was sweet and it was difficult to resist the temptation. But Temidire knew that Ibukun had baked the cake out of utmost kindness. So when night fell, as promised, Temidire took the leftover cake outside, letting the moonlight shine on it. After the village had fallen asleep and everyone was fast asleep, the spirit of the night arrived, covered in mist and shadow, and without a word, they carried the rest of the cake to a small hidden room where Ifedayo laid. As the spirit of the night floated away, Ifedayo sat up, happy and excited. It was as if his illness is gone for that moment as a feast on the cake. This nightly ritual has become Ibukun's secret. Also, despite all the fame Ibukun has, she is not very rich because she sells a cake for free. She couldn't afford to buy many beautiful things for herself and for her son. But for as long as her fame continues to grow wide, Ibukun seemed to be contented. Until one sunny afternoon, when a man named Mr. Diekola arrived in the village. Mr. Diekola is a businessman, a widower, and the father of two beautiful girls named Taye and Kenny. Mr. Diekola changed his location with the hope of finding a well-mannered lady in the village who would love him and care for his twins. Dressed charmingly, he made a stop at Ibukun's shop, requesting for cakes for his girls. "Just a slice," Ibukun said with a smile. "One slice for you, and one slice for you too." The twins frowned. "Who eats just a slice of cake?" said Kenny. "Dad, I want more," Taye shouted. So Mr. Diakola stretched forth some money to Ibukun and said, "Give the girls more cake and keep the change." But Ibukun declined. This made Mr. Diakola curious. So he said, "Can I have a slice too?" But as he savored every flavor, every bite, "This is too good to be for free," he suddenly said, the business tycoon in him already thinking of how to assist Ibukun into turning a cake making into a money-making business. "Cake should be shared and not sold," replied Ibukun. "Come off the superstition. This cake are unlike anything I have ever tasted. You could make lots of money." His eyes scanned the small humble shop, but Ibukun slowly declined. The days that followed, Mr. Diakola would come to Ibukun's shop and said, "But tell me, why don't you charge for your cakes?" But Ibukun will only smile in return. One day, as they sat outside the shop, Mr. Diakola laid out his plan. "Think about it, Ibukun," he said, his voice soft and persuasive. "With your talent, people would pay any price for your cakes. In fact, people will pay any amount for a slice of cake. We will only sell a slice to each customer. No more, nothing less. No greedy customer will be attended to. Think of all the good things you could do with money." That night, as she laid the leftover cake in the wooden basket, she thought about it deeply. She has grown fond of Mr. Diakola and his twins. She also saw no harm in what Mr. Diakola has proposed. "I should make some money too for myself. I don't think that's bad," she said to herself. "As long as I remain left over for the spirit at night and people only buy a slice of cake." So the days that followed, Ibukun baked thousands of smaller cakes, carefully shaped them into triangles shape, decorated them with different colors and topping. The twins happily hawked the cake around the village. Mr. Diakola supervised, making sure only one cake to one customer. The villagers were still very happy to pay for the slice of cake. Now she deserves to make some money for herself. As her fame continues to grow, soon Ibukun started counting lots of money. The rumors started spreading that Ibukun still baked for free for people who have weddings, birthdays, and any other celebrations. She refused to deny them the joy of having an elaborate cake on their celebration days. This continued with no problem. Now she has a big house. Deep down the building, she kept her son there, eating from Mr. Diakola and the entire villagers. Soon, Mr. Diakola asked the question, "Ibukun, will you marry me?" Ibukun was the happiest. She agreed to marry him. Their wedding was very elegant, the cake tall and beautiful. The taste was extraordinary. The villagers savored as they ate each slice from the cake. At night, Ibukun gathered the leftover cake, kept it in a room, but unknown to her, the twins followed her, monitoring her every step. The moment she left the room, the twins descended on the remaining cake. "On a great day like this, we should be given a cake treaty." At that moment, the light in the house turned off. Ibukun quickly rushed to get a lamp. But as she stared at the image in front of her, it is Ifedayo. "Mom," Ifedayo said. Ibukun looked at him in total surprise. "Ifedayo," she replied, "you can walk and talk. What's going on?" Mr. Diakola was already behind her, not having a clue to what's going on. "Who is this?" he asked. Ibukun still in dilemma. How is this possible? At that instant, she remembered the leftover cake. She raced to the room she had kept the cake, and Mr. Diakola followed. To their shock, the twins are frozen. Chunks of cake littered all over the room. Mr. Diakola rushed to his two girls. "What have you done to my twins? My instinct told me there is more to your cake, but I never listened. You bake without an oven. Who bake thousands of cake per night, if not a witch?" Watch out for part 2.